Well, finally, after a quick little bus ride, we finally made it to our destination for the night and for tomorrow. Welcome to Tepoztlán. Good afternoon, guys. It's a bit of a late start in the day, but after a pretty hectic morning, we're finally on the path to our destination. We are currently in Mexico City. This is obviously the biggest city here in Mexico, but we are leaving Mexico City today and we're going to a place known as Tepoztlán, which has been on my bucket list for a pretty long time. But it's gonna be an amazing adventure. So we're going to be on our way to Tepoztlán. We're gonna get there at night, and then the next day we're gonna continue exploring that city. It's a beautiful little town and it's gonna be absolutely amazing. Well, finally, after a quick little bus ride, we finally made it to our destination for the night and for tomorrow. Welcome to Tepoztlán. So here's the thing about Tepoztlán. It is a pueblo mágico. It's one of those small, beautiful Mexican villages. You can see behind me there's beautiful street art here, but what it's most famous for is a pyramid located on the top of a hill right here. These are ancient ruins here that are supposed to be absolutely amazing. That's what this place is famous for. But as you can probably tell, we're pretty late. It's already like 6 p.m. here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna walk around the center of the town today, and then tomorrow morning we're gonna go and hike up to the top. It kind of gives me Bernal vibes, which I absolutely love because I love Bernal. So I'm excited to go ahead and start exploring this city. The first stop of the day, which you've got to do whenever you get into a pueblo mágico, is come to the center of it. This is the Zócalo. The Zócalo here is just like a beautiful little park. You can tell there's like a gazebo in the middle. Most of the people here are just chilling. There's a lot of vendors selling really good looking food, which we are going to try out later for sure. And right next to it is the market, which we'll talk about later. But this place is really, really nice. It's really, really quiet. You've got someone there like practicing some acrobatics. You've got some music playing. It's a really, really nice, quiet, calm vibe. Definitely completely different from the hustle and bustle of Mexico City. So it is a beautiful, beautiful place. The sun is setting right behind the gazebo right now, which makes it absolutely perfect. But this place already, I'm loving it. It's beautiful and it's a pretty small town. Well, the sun has set here in Tepoztlán, and we're currently on the main street here on Tepoztlán. This is Tepozteco. It's where you're gonna find everything. Restaurants, bars, shops. During the day it's a lot busier, but now as you can see it's nighttime, so there's not that many people around and not many shops are open. But of course a big part of Tepoztlán is the food. So we're gonna see if we can get some local food here so that I can share it with you guys. Obviously, when you're here in Tepoztlán, what you've got to try is their Itakatis. I came to the market here and there's this lovely just little stall here in the middle that's open pretty late, and they're serving traditional Itakatis. What is Itacate? Well, it's sort of like a quesadilla, but it's not exactly the same. It's same like sort of corn dough, but they mix like oil and cheese inside the actual dough itself. And then it's in this like triangular shape, which then they cook up, fry up, and then they put stuff inside. Now what we've got today, we've got two. The first one has already come out. This is mushrooms. This is a really interesting type of mushroom. Why? Because this mushroom grows on corn. Right, so usually when you see a corn, you see it as a corn with a lot of kernels on it. But this mushroom replaces the kernels on the corn. And that's why you see that it sort of has that sort of corn shape. But when farmers go and collect the corn, it's already black in color because the mushrooms have grown all over the corn. It's really, really interesting. The owners were just explaining it to me. So really, really nice people here and just super fascinating. But anyways, first off, let's get a drink here. We've got lemon water with chia seeds. Never had this before. Let's go ahead and try this out. Oh, that's so good. That's so refreshing. One thing I love about Mexico is their refreshing drinks, and that is amazing. He told me that it wasn't very sweet. Perfect. That is literally perfect. Got that sourness from the lemon, the sweetness from the water, and the chia seeds, just amazing. All right, let's try the Itakatis. I'm super excited about this. I mean, you can tell it's a little bit different from what I'm used to. I've never seen this anywhere else in Mexico. This is only local to Tepoztlán. So we gotta go ahead and try this out. Let's go for it. Oh my God, they're all falling out. This is not going well. All right, let's go. That is so interesting, but so good. Like, okay, that mushroom, it's different. You can still taste it like it's a bouncy mushroom sort of texture, but it just has a different flavor to it. You've got onions in there. The dough itself, you can taste the flavor. It's actually a little bit hard. It's because it's fried, it's really crispy. It actually sort of like hit me at the back of the throat. I was choking a little bit because it's like really, really tough. It hits you pretty hard, but super interesting. I will say there's not much flavor to it, so you're gonna have to add a lot of salsa. So I'm gonna add more salsa, but really unique, really interesting. I've never had anything like this before. This is absolutely fascinating. I mean, I haven't seen this anywhere else in Mexico, so when you come to Tepoztlán, you've got to try that out. Like I promised, we were gonna get two, and the other one has come. This is with cecina, or basically steak. But this one's a lot simpler. It's just that and the steak inside. It's hot, it's just fresh off the griddle, like she's literally just cooking right over there. I put a lot of salsa on it, so let's go ahead and give this a try. That's amazing. That sort of crispy layer outside. It's just, the dough itself has sort of like a saltier flavor. And he told me he puts salt, some cheese to give it that sort of salty flavor. So the dough actually is not that simple. There's more to it. It's not just like, you know, when you get taco, the tortilla is just like, you know, dough, that's it. Meat, I mean, it's meat. It's grilled there. It's delicious. It's nice. Put inside there with that salsa, with that green sort of spicy salsa to it. Absolutely delicious. I mean, each one of these are 35 pesos, but really, really delicious. I absolutely love how this dough is so unique, that the dough itself has flavor, that you're not relying on the meat inside to bring it flavor, you're relying on the dough to have some flavor. And then of course, when you add more flavor with it from the mushrooms or the steak, then it just gets so much better. Absolutely amazing. A must try when you're here in Tepoztlán. Well, it doesn't get better than that. That meal is just so good. That's gotta be one of the best things I've eaten here in Mexico. Those mushrooms, I don't know what about it, but the shape, the flavor, it's just different. It's just amazing, and it's only found here. This region is famous for its mushrooms. So when you come to Tepoztlán, make sure to get their mushrooms and make sure they're not poisonous, because the guy just told me that some of them can be poisonous. All right, we've got an early morning start tomorrow, so I'm gonna go ahead, head back to bed, and I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Well, good morning, guys. It's time for an early morning start. Let's get a hike in. I've got to say, this is a much harder hike than I expected. I mean, if you compare it to Bernal, Bernal required more like technique because there are some hard parts, but stamina wise, it was not as tough as this. Here, there's just stairs and stairs and stairs. I don't even know how close we are to the top, but we've been walking for a half an hour and there's no end in sight. Well, we made it all the way to the top, but it's closed. I had heard that it was closed. I think it's because of the pandemic, but that kind of sucks considering all the time and effort it took to get up here. But it's still a pretty nice view. We're gonna get the drone up and see what we can shoot. Alright, now although we didn't manage to actually get onto the pyramid, it was amazing that my drone was able to film the pyramid. So we managed to capture it. It's actually not really that special. The pyramid is nothing much, but it's the view from the pyramid that I think would be exceptional. But with the drone, we basically got the same shots. This pyramid itself was built by the ancient Aztecs thousands and thousands of years ago. The pyramid was designed to be built for the god Tepoztlán, who was the god of pulque, which is a very popular alcoholic drink, especially here in Tepoztlán. I don't know if we're gonna drink it today, but we'll think about it. But it's really interesting that they've managed, like thousands of years ago, to build this pyramid on the top of this hill. It's not easy to get up here. And like you can see, once you enter the actual archaeological park itself, you still got a long way to go. You got some stairs to climb to get up to the very top of the hill. How they managed to build that pyramid, I really have no clue. But unfortunately, because of the pandemic, we will never know because we're never going to be able to get up there. However, the view is truly exceptional. That sunrise just behind the mountains, and the mountains here are so interesting. They're just like sort of sticking out of nowhere. They are almost like kind of like the Cappadocia mountains. They're really, really interesting, but it's so beautiful. We're currently here within this like valley. I don't know if you can see, we've got this huge rock face on this side, another huge rock face on this side, and we're just sitting here at the entrance of the pyramid gate. But it's getting a little bit chilly. I didn't realize that it was gonna get this chilly early in the morning here in Tepoztlán. So we're gonna start heading back down into the city and see what's cooking up at the market. And just like that, about another half hour, we are back at the bottom of the hill. It's not that hard coming down, but trust me, when you go up, it's pretty hard. But I think it is that time of the day. It's currently 9 a.m. It's time for breakfast. Alright, we've made it into the market. It's hectic, it's busy, and everybody is getting breakfast. I was walking by and I saw this stall that was just packed with people, just absolutely jam-packed with people. This is known as Antojitos Mayre, and they serve some pretty amazing food. Now, as you know, here in Tepoztlán, they're famous for their mushrooms. So obviously I have to get a lot of things with mushrooms, as many mushrooms as I can. I'm gonna eat as many mushrooms because you know you don't really get these high quality mushrooms anywhere else. But first off, we got a little agua fresca, fresh water. This is guayaba and banana, which I'm very excited to try. Let's go ahead and try it out. Amazing. Always nice, fresh, little bit of sweetness. Love these Mexican agua frescas. Okay, first off, I got actually two soups. Originally I got one soup, but then I saw my neighbor get a really good soup, so I had to get that soup too. So I ended up getting two. The other one's still being cooked, but the first one we have is a sopa de milpa. And you can tell it's so many vegetables inside. Like you've got pumpkin, I think you've got mushroom, you've got squash. It's so many ingredients. I'm gonna try the soup out just by itself first. Oh, that's so clean, clear, and just comfortable. It's warm, it's nice. you get those vegetable flavors. It's not a meaty flavor, it's a really nice, fresh vegetable flavor. Really, really clean flavors in there. I'm gonna get one of the mushrooms. Obviously, we're at Tepoztlán, we've got to try mushrooms. Let's go ahead and try this out. Amazing. It just does not get better than that. That's absolutely incredible. Alright, the main thing we've gotten here is actually a tlacoyo. Now a tlacoyo is kind of like this pita bread thing that's sort of shaped like a pizza. It kind of reminds me of Turkish pide. But I got it with wheat lacoche because I cannot get enough of these unique mushrooms here in Tepoztlán. It looks absolutely amazing. We're just gonna drizzle some salsa on top just to give it a little bit of spice. Finally, let's go ahead and give this a try. I just love the mushrooms. They're so unique. You're never gonna get corn-shaped mushrooms anywhere else in the world. And these mushrooms, because they're so small, you know, they're crispy, and the flavor is so deep. It almost has like a kind of meaty flavor to the mushrooms. Absolutely love it. The spicy salsa, always a good choice. Wow, this is really good, but trust me, we've got one more soup coming, and that soup is probably gonna be the most exciting thing here. As promised, there was one more thing I had to get here, and that's the sopa de hongos, or mushroom soup. I'm telling you, we're eating lots of mushrooms today, and this is like, it comes in like a little like clay sort of bowl, and it's piping hot. It's literally boiling, and she's just cooking it over there in that big cauldron. This is like real local traditional Mexican food, and I'm super excited. You can see there are so many different types of mushrooms in here, and it just smells amazing. It's got this earthy, mushroomy smell to it. Let's go ahead and try just the soup out itself. Okay, so the red flavor obviously comes from tomatoes, but there's something deeper. There's something like a smoky spice to it. You got like a very earthy flavor to the soup as well, coming from those mushrooms, obviously. But all right, let's go ahead and try out the mushrooms. They're so just fresh, clean, and that deep, earthy flavor. I mean, if you love mushrooms, you gotta come to Tepoztlán. They got mushroom soup, mushroom tlacoyos, mushroom everything. But the soup, it's amazing. You have tomato, obviously there's a little bit of tomato, but it's more overpowered by the mushroom earthy flavor and some like deep spice. I don't know exactly what it is. It's some Mexican spice, but it's amazing. And of course, you gotta squeeze some lemon to give it that bit of acidity. And when you put it all together, it's just the most perfect mushroom soup ever. I mean, it's so different from like, you know, when you think of cream of mushroom soup, if they've minced down the mushroom and everything, but this is just literally mushroom tomato soup. It's so good, it's so hearty, and it's so thick as well. It's not very watery, it's a relatively thick soup. I don't know what they're doing here. I don't know what ingredients they put in here, but this is just one of those things you have to try when you come to this part of Mexico. That was an absolutely delicious meal, and like I said, this is a thing that you can only get here in Tepoztlán. It was a bit pricey, it was 135 pesos, but also just beware that was 2 soups, a tlacoyo, plus a drink on the side. So I would say pretty reasonable. But this right here is the market. This is the food section, but basically the food section dominates the entire market, so there's not much else to show, so we're gonna continue exploring Tepoztlán. Just a quick walk down from the market, we've made it to the main church here in Tepoztlán. This is Parroquia de Nuestra Señora de la Natividad. Now the church currently is closed, but I don't think it's closed because of the pandemic. I think it's actually closed because like the structure is gonna crumble. They've got like scaffolding, they've sort of shut it down completely, but it's a really, really old church. I wish we could go in, but you can see they've sort of built a replacement church right over there, because I think that, yeah, this church is probably gonna crumble. Next to the church is an ex-convent with a lot of nuns in the past, but that is also closed because it's part of the same structure. So unfortunately, this whole thing might crumble any point because it's so old, it's so unstable. But it's a nice place. It's like a really, really nice garden here. You can see there's a walkway, there are trees. It's a really pretty place, but it's just not open today. Now, yesterday when we came pretty late into town, they were, you know, bringing down a lot of these stalls. They were packing up, ready to go. But now here, the next day in the morning, they're setting up the stalls, and I have to say, these stalls are selling everything, like bracelets, jewelry, clothes, basically all the touristy stuff you'd expect. But it's still pretty local. Like, it's not San Miguel, it's very, very like Mexican still. I love that balance that they have. But yeah, this Tianguis is just right off the main street here. It's one of the main things you gotta come and see. It's kind of like a market, but the market's actually on the other side. It's just sort of like a bunch of street stalls that are really, really nicely decorated. Well, Tepoztlán is not only famous for mushrooms, but also for ice cream. And I've come to this huge Disney-looking store. This is Tepoznieves. Let's go get some ice cream. Dame el beso de ángel.
¿Qué tamaño?
Chica de la canastita.
Claro, serían 25.
Gracias. Well, we finally got our ice cream and it was quite, you know, interesting. The store itself is just massive. It's huge and it's got like this Disneyland sort of vibe with Rainforest Cafe mixed in with some Mexican culture. It's amazing. The process is pretty simple. You go and pay for your ice cream first, and then you do it to the ice cream counter, and from there they will sort of make it for you. But I got a very popular one called Beso de Ángel. It's made up of 3 fruits. It's made up of pineapple, mamey, and strawberries. And you can tell it's kind of like a pinkish color. So I'm excited for what it's going to taste like. Let's go ahead and try it out. Wow. Yeah, you definitely taste, I mean, I would say strawberry is the strongest one, but you definitely taste all 3, and it's a really, really nice, cool, refreshing treat here in Tepoztlán. You can tell, like, these are real fruits that they put inside. It's not chemical flavored. You can see actually some of the fruit pieces inside. So this is definitely something you should come and try out. And it's famous here in Tepoztlán, and you can only find it here in this little town. But of course, there's no better way to end today's video than with ice cream. Tepoztlán is an amazing town. It's not too far from Mexico City. It's easily a great day trip to make, and if you can hike up to the top when the pyramid is open and enter the pyramid. But the views are spectacular. This town is, I think, as local as it gets when it comes to Pueblo Mágicos, and to me it's just as beautiful as places like Bernal, which I personally love. And I'm also in love with this place. So definitely, when you're in Mexico, come and check this place out. There's so much to do here, so much to see here, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful place to be. Anyways, that's all I have for you guys today. I'm gonna finish this ice cream here in Tepoztlán because that's what they're famous for, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye guys.